crossings. I'm trying to catch up to them.
Here, at some of the damage here
126.
in the city of Albany. Last night
We're about
abandoned
all over on campground.
was actually on fire. Well, the corner of it was on fire.
Just advise me which direction you go.
Trash area. A live look here at the Albany County Board of Elections along South Pearl Street in the city of Albany, New York. You can see all of the windows are boarded up here today on that building. This was the longtime Department of Motor Vehicles on the south side here in Albany. Heavy damage here with windows boarded up, construction crew in place. We're right across the street from the Capital City Rescue Mission. I'm going to take you over towards the South Albany Police Station.
South at the first parking lot, just into the crossing.
We're getting reports here from
Awesome.
Liz that some protesting going on in the city of Schenectady near the police station at this point. We'll make our way over to the city of Schenectady just as soon as we can give you a look at some of the damage here in Albany. Last night, this street, you can see the burn marks still in the street and the sidewalk where there was a bunch of flames here on South Pearl Street in Albany, right across from the Capital City Rescue Mission, right at the intersection of Arch and South Pearl Street. Police officers encountered heavy group of protesters outside the Arch Street Police Station. You can see the South Albany Police Station here is heavily guarded at this point by New York State Police. You can see one of the Albany City Police vehicles there with the back window completely smashed out of that vehicle. Multiple New York State troopers here at the site of the South Albany City Police Station. At the start of things yesterday, Arch Street here in Albany was lined heavily with angry protesters and angry persons who lined the street in front of the South Albany Police Station, chanting to police and throwing objects into the Albany Police parking lot here on Arch Street. You had multiple officers on the roof of that police station yesterday. During that time, it was around 7 p.m. that the protesting started here at the South Albany Police Station. A massive amount of violence occurring there in front of that police station, with police cars being damaged and items, equipment being taken from a police car, according to reporters who were here at this time, or at that time rather. You can see now the street is closed off. They've got those metal barricades in place. They've got a number of New York State troopers here all the way around the building here in South Albany. A much different scene here today following what occurred last night. A number of people asking me about my leg. I was hit by gunfire from an Albany police vehicle yesterday. A rubber bullet managed to get me in the leg. I'm okay. I got a big bruise. It hurts, but I'm on my feet, and I'm bringing you some additional coverage here today as best I can. For those of you that are new to this page, it's an independent effort. It is me and me alone. There's no money involved. I don't get paid. I don't sell ads. I don't have anything other than real, honest, independent journalism happening here on the page that I've titled Fulton County Area News. So I'm a one-person effort. Bear with me. I'll bring you the best possible coverage that I can, and I'll continue to show you what's going on in and around Albany. And now, from what I'm told from a friend Liz writing in, letting me know that there's now some violence, or at least some protesting going on near the city of Schenectady police station. Some reports coming in here to my Facebook page, as many as maybe 500 people over there. I don't know if that is true. I'm going to go there more than likely and bring you coverage from that area. But I want to recap here what happened again last night, how this all kind of unfolded. This was a massive group of protesters here at the South Albany Police Station here on Arch Street. You're looking at that location now. Protesting got very out of control, became violent, with rocks being thrown towards officers who were in the parking lot there at that south station. Eventually, officers coming out, 4 officers on large police horseback, moving protesters down here onto South Pearl Street. And eventually, in a northerly direction, officers using that fence that you can see there that's now stacked up against the more permanent fence. That fence was used here by officers to close this line here near the Capital City Rescue Mission and keep people from turning that situation in front of that South Albany police station into a much more severe incident that certainly could have happened. If you followed the coverage last night, you saw some massive, terrible violence here in the city of Albany occurring. So a smart move by the city of Albany, a very smart move to move those angry persons away from their city police station and down here onto Pearl Street in a northerly direction, eventually to the area of the Times Union Center. When I first arrived on scene here last night at the Capital City Rescue Mission, I immediately started filming it. Things were very, very intense. There was a row of police officers here. There was an armored Albany City Police vehicle here at this location. And a number of protesters forward of this location throwing bottles and anything that they could towards the police, and even the horses being attacked with that debris and flying objects, including glass and all sorts of things being hurled towards those officers. An unfortunate situation. I was able to first kind of hunker down here at the Capital City Rescue Mission. You can see the mission here in Albany remains undamaged. They didn't bother that location. Much different scene over behind me, where you can see all sorts of boarding up of windows here, all sorts of damage here to this abandoned mini mart, including a fire over there in the dumpster area last night. Lots of flames from that location. So basically a recap forward of everything I've described so far. Albany police officers eventually pushing this crowd back using tear gas and rubber bullets, eventually towards the intersection of Westerlo and South Pearl. And things really rapidly developed from there. Persons here in the street rather quickly overtook a tractor trailer that was doing nothing but what it was supposed to do. A tractor trailer driver delivering milk and coffee, making his way along South Pearl Street here in Albany. Obviously no idea that things were very violent in the path of his motorway here along South Pearl Street. Persons quickly overtaking that tractor trailer. The driver seen running frantically from that vehicle away from the scene. Protesters and persons in the area quickly jumping onto the hood of that vehicle and inside that vehicle. Eventually they were able to get the tail end of that vehicle opened up. Looting then started. The vehicle was full of milk and coffee grounds, things like that. Protesters quickly moving in to use those items to hurl towards police. So you literally had half gallons of milk being thrown in the direction of the officers that were making their way, pushing this angry mob of persons here in the northerly direction along South Pearl Street. A lot of that video coverage is here on our Facebook page. I was able to continue to film and try and bring you coverage of all the stuff that went on. It was really hard to do that. There was so much tear gas in the area, and those rubber bullets were of course flying, but we kept our camera rolling for as long as we could. Interviewed a number of people here along South Pearl Street. There were some folks that came up and talked to me off camera, some more folks that came up and talked to me on camera. It was an intense situation here, but you can see most of the buildings along South Pearl Street in Albany. You can see there really isn't a lot of damage here. That tractor trailer that was on fire last night has now since been removed. And Pearl Street, South Pearl Street, as you can see here in South Albany, is flowing with normal traffic and an everyday, more of an everyday scenario here on Pearl Street. If you didn't watch the news or wasn't aware of what was going on last night, there really wouldn't be much of any indication here today. But that there was any problem last night. So much different scene here today than last night. More damage up on Central Avenue, more damage on North Pearl Street, lots of glass being blown out of these buildings, and a lot of general destruction happening here. I was able to follow along with a couple of the teams with the Albany Police Department. At one point I was right behind one of the teams that was moving in towards City Hall to essentially protect that location from protesters. And I will describe persons in addition as other than protesters, because you had two groups of people here last night. Really, you had small groups of actual protesters who were carrying signs with messages on them, and they were chanting messages verbally, and you had another group of people who were just destroying things, and they really didn't have a message other than destruction. So that seemed to be the majority of the persons that were here last night, by all accounts that I saw throughout the night. I'm going to wrap up the coverage here for now in front of the Capital City Rescue, as I'm getting a number of messages coming across my screen indicating a heavy protest at the Schenectady City Police Department. We're going to probably take a ride over there. We'll take another stroll here through Albany, just take a look at some of those areas that were impacted by the violence that occurred here last night. And a lot of you still asking here in the comments that hoping my leg is okay. Hey, I've got a hell of a bruise and it hurts, but I'm okay. I was hit by some actual gunfire. It was a rubber bullet. First round whizzed past me, blew out the glass out of a bus stop up here. You can sort of see that bus stop up yonder there. That was kind of my warning to move away from the area, which I did. I went and hid for about 10 minutes, and as soon as I tried to get another vantage point to look at that tractor trailer that was completely engulfed, the next round came, and I was hit in the leg. But as I've been saying in my prior coverage, I want to thank that officer that shot me. I'm okay, and he was just doing his job. I certainly didn't appear to be anyone that had any legitimacy in that area. I had a hoodie, I was well disguised, and certainly had no press credentials displayed, as I was right in the middle of all of the violence that was occurring. The last thing that I wanted to do was appear to be any sort of a press person. So I want to thank the officers that were down here last night. To move these persons from this area was the absolute right thing to do. If you watched the video, most of you did, you know that there was a dangerous, life-threatening situation down here, especially with that tractor trailer being lit on fire. Flames could be seen, in my estimation, is about 40 feet in the air in a heavily residential neighborhood here along South Pearl Street. In between some of these tall buildings, with that the heat was just incredible. I was really far away from the tractor trailer that was burning, as I was hiding around behind a residence. But you know, the heat and the flames were just unbelievable. It took off almost immediately. As soon as persons lit that thing on fire, it was going up in no time. I'm going to get over to Schenectady. A lot of you are requesting for me to go over there. And I want to thank Liz for writing in, letting me know about the situation that is, from what I understand and from what all of you are telling me, currently developing at the Schenectady Police Department. I'm going to wrap up the coverage here for now in the city of Albany, outside the Albany City Rescue Mission. You've been watching Fulton County Area News. Stay safe, everybody.